Hello, and divine greetings upon you, good pilgrim, and welcome to this treasured island. I am so pleased that you have found your way here to us at the world-famous Cat-thedral, dedicated to the glorious and radiant Saint Felinius, our protector and savior. I would be honored to show you all we have to offer here at our sacred compound, if that would be to your liking. Oh, and please allow me to introduce myself. I am Pontiffikums Molly Calico, the humble and dutiful leader of this group, and I was chosen by Saint Felinius himself to guide this clouder of his followers to perfect enlightenment. If you're ready, we could commence our walkabout even right now. Yes? Oh, how nice. Well, let's get to it then, shall we? As all good things do, let us start at the beginning. Our cathedral is built upon the shores of Holy Spectacle Island, constructed upon the exact spot where Saint Felinius made his first home immediately after discovering the island. Walking the sacred catwalk, we come upon our greeting area where two of our chosen initiates are tending to visitors. Before climbing the supreme staircase, let me introduce you to Brother Hobbs here at our information desk.
Hey there, hope you have a nice time.
Brother Hobbs has been with us for over 3 years now and will soon be raised in status. On the other side, we have our intake specialist, Sister Dinah, who is in charge of initiate arrival.
A lot of new members, Your Holiness. Each one is strong.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sister Dinah. Thank you so much. And now we shall climb. The supreme staircase is the crowning achievement of our builders and architects. The staircase itself consists of 36 holy steps, a carefully chosen number. In the lost and ancient science of numerology, 36 is most closely associated with balance, and balance is, of course, an essential part of all feline entities. As you are not an official initiate, we can simply make our way up to the top, being careful not to trip, of course. The way is not smooth, but this too can be a lesson for life. For what way is ever clear is only the way of deception. From the Book of Felinius, chapter 9, verse 27. As we arrive at the top, let us take a moment to take in the magnificent view from this lofty perspective. Surrounding our island is the great Grimalkin Sea, and we can also see in the distance the home of WKAT Radio, where 24 hours a day we broadcast the wisdom of Saint Felinius through daily readings of his sacred texts, as well as songs of worship. Our broadcast reaches far and wide, and we are most pleased with the amount and quality of followers that have heeded the call. Why, we've nearly doubled our ranks in the last 6 months, and not a murderer among them.
Love is the key.
And now, may I present to you the most holy of holy spaces in all the Commonwealth, the Cat-thedral of Saint Felinius. From the back of the nave, we can get a very nice look at all the beauty erected to honor our most exalted saint. The eternal flames you see here are tended with loving care, representing the warmth in our heart that all the divine four-legged entities herein bring to us every day. There's plenty of space for all the followers of Felinius to pray and to contemplate all that is cat. On either side of the nave are 6 apparition vision chapels dedicated to many great cats throughout history. But before embarking on that particular quest, let us stop by the gift shop and say hello to Mrs. Norris. Mrs. Norris is a potter, creating beautiful pieces of ceramic, which she sells here in the shop. Hello, Mrs. Norris. How are you today? Meow. Yes, meow to you too, Mrs. Norris. Many of our devotees have taken a vow of muteness, and for a period of 9 days, they are only allowed to speak in feline sounds. There are even those who are able to, through deep catatonic meditation, begin speaking in cat tongues. Oh, it is a very special thing and an event that we take very seriously. On the surface, it seems like something that could so easily be faked, but no one here would dare do such a thing, for such heresy would never be tolerated by our overlords. On the opposite side, we have a small prayer chapel, consecrated space for those in need of protection. It is here that we pray to the Archangel Gary to safeguard us from dogs and all things evil and canine. It's Gary! Visiting the apparition vision chapels now, where only if a saint deems you worthy will you actually see their image. We will start with that of the patron saint of this cathedral, Saint Felinius of Quincy. Founder of this great colony, Saint Felinius was led to these shores after a vision was bestowed upon him. Blasphemers say it was a catnip addiction that led to his renowned visions, but we the faithful know that it was the righteous light of pupillary expansion that gave him his insightful vision. Our next chapel is dedicated to the illustrious and universally revered Saint Cat-thedral of the flowing waters. Born to an unmated mother, Saint Cat-thedral performed her first miracle while still a kitten. It is unknown how exactly Saint Cat-thedral was forced off the pier, but she floated not only to the surface of the water but above it. She is now the patron saint of all who fall and get particularly wet. The last chapel on this side is dedicated to Saint Felix of Sullivan and Mesmer. Saint Felix performed many miracles in his long lifetime, best known of which was his turning loafers into fishes at the famous grand opening of Mr. Barton's loafer shop in Perth, which immediately turned into Mr. Barton's Fish and Chips, as there were no loafers to offer the long line of patrons who, by chance, just happened to be hungry, so everything turned out just fine in the end. Saint Felix is now the patron saint for those who need shoes, but settle for any variety of seafood platter. You saw all of those, right? Oh, I knew you were special. We re-enter the main body of the church now, and here we are privileged to see some of the many divinities that allow us to care for them here on the premises. Each lives life as each sees fit, some preferring living indoors and accept our loving attention, and others, often those on a vision quest, prefer the wilds of the island, rarely making contact with us. And here we have the reliquary of Mr. Bubbles, a brave and fierce warrior that lived on the island with our beloved and radiant Felinius. Mr. Bubbles was protector and shield of the saint, felled in the battle during the sack of Spectacle, giving his own life to defend Felinius from certain death at the hands, the claws, of one of the marauding mirelurks who had invaded the island during the deadly siege. Mr. Bubble's holy remains have been kept here ever since, in remembrance of his ultimate sacrifice. Next, I would like to show you the pulpit from which I give my daily readings and guided prayer services, but, hello there. Oh, excuse me, I'd just like to step up. Okay, not that way. Perhaps if I... No, okay, I see, not that way either. Well, then, of course, your wonderfulness, I shall take the long way. Thank you for your guidance. Well, this gives me the opportunity to show you the front of the pulpit here, where followers of Felinius bring fresh flowers from fields found on the flatlands on the far side of the island. Lovely, aren't they? And of course, we only use the finest of Mrs. Norris's pottery on the altar here. Anything else would be an insult. On the other side of the pulpit, we have another reliquary, this enshrining the earthly remains of her most glorious righteousness, little Missy McBootykins, consort to Saint Felinius and mother of his sacrosanct offspring. Though technically not a saint herself, mainly because she was a terrifically unfriendly cat, her place in the story of Felinius is exalted and undeniable. She represents to us today a shining example of the kind of devotion we all strive to emulate. Without the violence part, though, there's really no need for that in any civil society. Now we can step up to the pulpit from which I have been tasked to lead our congregation in all aspects of worship. It's off hours right now, but it pleases me to see two of our devotees here, deep in contemplation. From this vantage point, we also get a very nice look at the Cat-thedral ceiling, designed by the greatest living artist, Santiago Ávila. Mr. Ávila also created all the cat paintings you see around here. Oh, he is a holy man, though less a man than a robot these days. Long story there. But he's still creating art, albeit in a less figurative way and more abstract expressionism. But back to our beautiful ceiling. The pattern of light and color was chosen carefully. Here we see the greens, blues, and cool yellows of the feline ocular spectrum, gracefully intertwined with the reds, purples, and warm yellow colors that are included in the human range of color vision. Our ceiling then represents the heavenly unified vision of both the hominid and feline perspective. Back here down on Earth, let us continue our tour of our sacred space. I'd next like to share with you a very special place, but let me first introduce you to Konnichiwa Kitty, one of our acolytes. As you have probably noticed already, there are two modes of dress here at the Cat-thedral. Initiates wear the blue and yellow uniform from their acceptance into the fold until their ascension to the next level. Upon ascension, the initiate becomes an acolyte, or what we lovingly refer to as a milkmaid. One is brought to ascension only after a minimum of 3 years of intense study of the Book of Felinius, mastering the art of the sacred slow blink, and finally, completion of the 9 great sacrifices.
I can't wait until I ascend next Monday.
I've always wanted this honor. Lifelong dream of mine.
Then there is the position of Pontiffikums, the position I currently hold as head and shoulders of the church. I, too, followed the path from acolyte to milkmaid, and upon the assumption of the previous pontificums, I was chosen by the divine circle of 12 in a very secret ceremony, the details of which I am not at liberty to disclose, even if I were able to put it into words. After the divine circle of 12 made their choice, I was given the sacred Pontifficums Ferula and Globus Cruciper, and I was crowned into my new life, leading the faithful forward until it is time for the next pontificums to be selected. Well, now that that's all clear, let me show you our Temple of Fate. This is where we welcome all new divine that come to us, sent to us by Felinius himself from the great beyond. We have a basket of fish here, of course, to welcome our newest divinities, and over here, the hallowed apparatus itself. When the signs are right, I, as Pontificums, will answer the call. I am tasked with the opening of the apparatus, one of my many sacred duties. The process is thus. I, with a full and rapturous heart, approach the machine, then, with a prayer of gratitude, using only the power of my mind, compel the apparatus to open, initiating the transmutation of our newest object of worship to appear here in our humble sanctuary. But the incarnation doesn't always take. Sometimes they will return to the spirit realm if they are not completely satisfied. Each entity that is chosen to stay, however, has a distinct personality all its own. Some are solitary and reclusive. Some are what could be considered by outsiders as perhaps rude. Others choose to have a distinct appearance. Others still have special powers that we mere humans have yet to fully understand the purpose. But let us continue here with your introduction. First, though, let me turn on this light, this beacon to the beyond, an invitation to the entities. And besides, it just looks nicer, don't you think? I will now reveal to you the last 3 chapels. We will start on this side, and... Oh, excuse me, just one moment, please. Brother Garfield, hello. Yes, I see we still have a problem in the laundry department and the overuse of starch in the acolytes' uniforms.
Yes, Your Holiness, forgive me. I will go and have a word with them immediately.
Very good, brother. Very good. Ugh. Aside from not being aesthetically pleasing at all, I can't imagine that that's very comfortable. At any rate, we now will be entering the chapel of St. Rufus of Antioch, patron saint of all who have been bothered by haters of varying kind. St. Rufus was a wise cat in ancient times, known for his kindness and penchant for sweets. Moving on to the center chapel on this side, this space is dedicated to Saint Fluffums the Elder. She was considered by all as exceptionally beautiful. She is now regarded as the patron saint of those who have been wrongly accused of vanity, but are instead merely gorgeous. Lastly, we have the chapel of Saint Grumpus of Memedom, patron saint of those who have become involuntarily famous. Saint Grumpus was an introverted kitty, born with a resting curmudgeon face. Though Saint Grumpus was kind and creative, his reclusive nature left him not very well connected to those around him, and because of this, Saint Grumpus retreated from all other living things, dying alone. So that is our main chapel. There's a bit more to see, which I would be happy to show you as well, but first, I forgot to point out our stained glass tube window, constructed over 100 years ago by Pontiffikums Figaro III, who was a great artist in his own right. He undertook a dedication pilgrimage in search of still functioning neon lights with which he was able to construct his glowing devotional artwork. Well, before it gets too late, let me show you the rest of what we have to offer our followers.
Okay.
We can make our way to the back where we have our community center called the Milk Bar.
The Milk Bar.
Upon entering, we have on our right here our milk dispensary, used as an offering to the divine entities that live here, but also for personal consumption. For they who partake of their daily milk will be blessed in my eyes. Book of Felinius, chapter 39, verse 812. In this corner, we have the Shrine of the Unknown Kitty, a place of remembrance for all cats who have not yet made their way to our island. There is a lovely sea view from the windows in this room, which has somewhat been obstructed by that rather large flying ship across the way there. Utterly terrifying when it arrived a few weeks ago. Behind us here is the dining and meeting area, utilized by all, though the purple seat is reserved for the Pontiffikums, of course. Initiate Mitzi here is one of our newest members, and she... careful there, Mitzi.
Oh, too much milk.
Good evening, your lordship. I hope all is well with you today. Good. Now, behind the milk bar, you will see the remains of the evil, glowing mutant hound, slain by Saint Felinius himself. Facing certain death, Felinius drew upon his divine powers and his many years of training in martial arts, and through a series of fast-paced moves, managed to slay the mighty beast, bringing an end to the scourge this canine had brought upon the island. Since that day, no hound has dared to show his horrid face upon these shores. It is a true cat sanctuary where cats and cat servants may live their lives in peace and tranquility. The milk bar itself is open from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. every day and is run by the milkmaids, each taking it in turn in a continual rotation. The serving of milk is a sacred duty, but one that can be fun.
I love talking to humans.
With all there is to do around here, socialization is a bit limited, but the milk bar provides a relaxed opportunity for fellowship. Now, over here in this corner, we have a space that can be used by study groups to interpret the word of Felinius, one-on-one counseling, and prayer group assemblages. Continuing outside, we can visit the dormitory for the followers of Felinius. Oh, and that fresh air is just a gift, isn't it? Oh, our Savior certainly chose well to settle on this island.
Wasn't that lovely?
Now, before heading into the dormitory itself, we can visit the small prayer chapel that we have here, decorated with this beautiful sculpture, reminding us that even in the darkness, the light of Felinius is eternal. It's also very useful, as it does get quite dark out here at night, and tackling these stairs in the dark, at least for humans and their limited nocturnal vision, can be a bit of a challenge.
Ow!
Here in the dormitory, things are quite minimalistic, as you can see. All material comforts are given up by the faithful. Every night, when all services, prayers, and cleaning of the sand is complete, the faithful head off to bed, knowing that all that could be done this day has been done, and that tomorrow brings with it another day of joyful dedication and satisfying servitude.
Construction plans are going very well, Your Holiness.
Thank you for that, Sister Mew Mew. That's very helpful. We've started building more dormitories in other parts of the island for our future followers, as our numbers are increasing almost daily. As the word of Felinius spreads and the truth of his message enters the hearts of those that can hear it, our little colony begins to grow. Hail to Felinius! Hail to Felinius! Hail to all felines! But there's a door here that leads directly to the grounds that surround the Cat-thedral, where farming, fishing, and basic upkeep of the land are undertaken. The other door here on the opposite side is a very important one as well, as it allows us to fulfill one of our Lord's central decrees. To be unwashed is to be as a dog. Only the obsessively clean will be welcomed into my kingdom. Book of Felinius, chapter 1, verse 92. And so we have this dedicated area for bathing. There was a movement at one point for the followers of Felinius to bathe only as cats do, but that did not work out so well, as we quickly discovered we aren't nearly as flexible as our kitty kings and queens. We then tried a different approach by licking one another, but as you well might imagine, that approach brought with it its own set of challenges. And so now we rely on the waters surrounding this holy place to cleanse our bodies, just as the words of Felinius act to cleanse our very souls. Well, I do believe that's the complete tour of the grounds, but I do hope you will stay and join us tomorrow in tomorrow's celebration. You have fortuitously arrived just in time for the most holy of holy days in all the entire calendar year. For tomorrow, my friend, tomorrow is Saint Felinius Day. The preparations are well underway, and come to think of it, I'd better check in with everyone and make sure all is at the ready. We've all been looking forward to this day for so long, I am quite sure that the only things left to do are just small little details.
Happy Saint Felinius Eve.
Oh, Saint Felinius Day is my favorite day of the year, when all the faithful come together to demonstrate their love and dedication to He who sheds light upon the path before us. The ritual of Saint Felinius is as old as time itself. Felinius has always been and always will be, you see. The ritual begins at sundown, when the faithful gather together in solidarity and solemnity, eventually making their way over to the chapel of offering. This is where each pilgrim will give something of great value to our feline friends upon this sacred isle. For Felinius said in his sacred book, chapter 427, verse 8 3/4, "For he who doteth upon any cat, doteth upon me, which is to say, all dotething is dotething unto me. And I say hereto and evermore that this is good." In the spirit of all this doting, we have constructed this humble chapel as a place whereupon all true believers may offer their gifts. Those who are at the beginning of their journey will more often than not bring a sincere offering of fish. But those that have experience with the profundity of the feline psyche knows very well what they want. They want human flesh. Oh yes, they may seem all cute and cuddly at first, which indeed they are. They are also affectionate, and at times even protective of their human caregivers. But lo, I say unto you, cats of all kinds, fear not the flesh of thine primate caregivers, for it warms you when they are alive, and sustains you when they are dead. Book of Felinius, chapter 1, verse 13. Most of our human sacrifices are volunteers, of course, those wanting to give in the most absolute form possible. The others, I'm not entirely sure where they come from. And we certainly don't ask too many questions. If the cats are happy, then we're safe. I mean happy, then we're happy. Yes, happy. Once all the sacrificing is done, it is time for the great yowling. All the followers who are still alive after the sacrifice come together around a great bonfire to sing the praises of Felinius, to glorify in song his words and his wisdom. The yowling continues throughout the night, voices lifted upon high until the celebrations of Saint Felinius Day are ended, and the first light of Sitting in a Box Day shines upon these sacred sands. So So, my new friend, I hope that you've been properly inspired by your visit and will consider joining with us here at the Cat-thedral. Was it coincidence that brought you here, or was it destiny? Coincidence is an orange tabby, and destiny is a dark gray Scottish fold. Was it either of them? What's that? It was a one-eyed Russian blue? Oh, yes. That's happenstance. She is quite the little traveler. Well, at any rate, we're just glad that you're here and would happily welcome you into our cult. Oh, dang it. Don't know why I keep saying that word. Of course, I meant family. Our cozy, caring, and perfectly sane family. Anyway, safe journey to you, my friend. Fare thee well. Oh, brother, Mr. Pickles, you're a bit exposed there, man. I really gotta talk to the laundry department.
Meow.
Yep, meow to you too, Brother Hobbs. Meow to us all.